Mississippi State 74, Kentucky 69, Mississippi State 92, Tennessee 91 in overtime. Ball game is over. You can wrap it in balloon and plate. Even in the final 4 years, Husky Coliseum has never been louder. Mississippi State knocks off the Crimson Tide. The tournament champions are wrapped in maroon and white.
The smallest guy on the floor throws one in from the block.
He makes the shot and they wave it off. He makes the shot and they wave it off, and Tulsa is going to win a thriller here in the quarterfinals of the TiVo NIT.
The 2001 Bulldogs finished strong. 18 wins, third round of the National Invitational Tournament. But far from satisfied, this bunch of Bulldogs began to ready themselves for the next year almost from the moment that they walked away from that heartbreaking loss in the NIT quarterfinal.
We found out a lot about our players there. I really thought that was the emerging of Derek Zimmerman. I thought I saw flashes of what he could be, and it helped us make some decisions on the future of our point guard in this program. And no doubt, we all saw Mario Alston keep progressing. So that was a very important time for us, those 3 games in NIT.
Some teams are glad to be there, but if you're in the SEC, you're disappointed to be in the NIT. And we made that good run, but you don't really get any attention for it. And we played well in it, but we were determined we was going to be in the spotlight the next year, and that started our April morning workouts were just really intense. And you ain't got a game in 6-7 months.
Leadership is an important part of all successful college basketball teams. For Mississippi State, that leadership came from seniors Michael Goler, Markel Patterson, and Guy Gardner. These upperclassmen would set the tone for the toughness and the energy that is the signature of a Rick Stansbury coached team.
He talked to me on a lot of different, levels, what I'm saying, about, making sure the young players, work hard, growing up, because that's something a young player got to do when they come in your program, they got to put them high school days behind them, and grow up.
Being a guy that's going to come back next year and try to be a leader on the team, being a senior on the team, it's just something you got to look forward to that next season, knowing that you had a great ball club.
To have a great year, the Bulldogs needed their sophomore big man, Mario Alston, to begin to realize the potential that he showed flashes of as a freshman.
There was so much expectations on him as a freshman. Everybody felt like he had a bad year. The best thing happened to him was the experience he gained from his freshman year. And he understood how important it was to lose that weight. And I've always said this, he's a terrific young man. And when he's very coachable, those kind of kids improve when you got ability. And he listened to us, he believed us, and he trusted us, and he went to work. And he was able to lose about 40 pounds. And again, hey, that's not easy.
During the off-season, the Bulldog coaching staff decided that the responsibility of playing point guard had been earned by junior Derek Zimmerman.
There's no question Derek Zimmerman athletically is as good as anybody in the country. We worked extremely hard on the mental part of it. Understanding point guard's role, understanding that you don't have to be a scorer to be a great point guard, understanding that I can be one of the best defenders in this league. And to his credit, because again, the kind of person he is, he bought in, but more importantly, he accepted his role.
Timmy Bowers had not played a major role on the club in his freshman campaign, but in 2002, he would be called upon to become the Bulldogs' top outside threat. Michael Ignerski had come to the team from junior college, and the coaching staff believed that it would take him some time to adjust to basketball in the nation's toughest league, but they also believed that he would play an important role on this team. And then there were the newcomers. Lincoln Smith, coming off a redshirt season. Marcus Campbell, a highly touted 7-footer. Ontario Harper, a redshirt freshman forward. And Winsome Frazier, a talented freshman guard. The season began well. This team was ready for early challenges, and the victories piled up. An 11-0 record, tied for the best start in school history.
If I said we could be 13-1, would we have taken that? Yes. But I really thought this team had that kind of potential. We had a very good schedule that people didn't understand. Maybe they looked at it, you heard some people talk about, well, they hadn't played anybody. But you know, going into SEC play, we had an RPI of 31, which tells you we played some people. And we had, out of those 14 games, 8 of them were away from the hump, either road games or neutral site games. So our kids gained a lot of confidence and a lot of experience from being in those situations.
Early January, SEC time. 13-1 record had been a great way to start the season, but the Bulldogs now realized that the real season was about to begin. The most storied team in the league, arguably in the nation, the Kentucky Wildcats rolled into town for the Bulldogs' home SEC opener at the Humphrey Coliseum. The Bulldogs got off to a terrible start, and the halftime score, UK 40, Mississippi State 24. The second half was a different story. The Bulldogs went to work on the inside with Mario Austin. The Bulldogs get to within 7, and then Derek Zimmerman gets on a roll. And State now is within 3. A 3-pointer by Timmy Bowers, and the Bulldogs are within 1. Another 3-pointer, this time by Markel Patterson, puts State on top for the first time in the game. But with only seconds to go, Kentucky regains the lead, and it took a last-second heroic by Mario Austin to pitch the game into overtime.
Gives it to Austin, who's going to fire for 3 and hit it. Austin hit a 3 to tie this ball game at 65 with 7.2 seconds.
In overtime, the momentum of the second half carried the Bulldogs as they shot 7 for 8 from the free throw line to seal the deal. A 74-69 victory for the Bulldogs over the 6th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats.
Down by 5, fires an air ball, cleared out by the Bulldogs, wrap it in maroon and white. Mississippi State 74, Kentucky 69. Wrap this one in maroon and white.
Man, unbelievable effort, unbelievable staying together, and keep believing. Never doubt. Always believe. Always believe. And when you do that, good things going to happen for us. Great job, man. Great job. Hey, guys, learn from this now. Hey, we could have fragmented early. We didn't do it. Very easily fragment against that basketball team. But you stay together, learn from it. Hey, when you closed your eyes last night, is that what you imagined right there? Is that what you imagined right there? There it is, man. There it is. Man, hey, can't say enough. Unbelievable effort, tremendous win. That's number 1. That's number 1.
After 2 tough losses on the road, the Bulldogs would return home and face a talented Tennessee team in a must-win matchup. It was a night of great offense. The Bulldogs scored from the outside and the inside and in transition, but Tennessee seemed to answer each time. At halftime, the Bulldogs led 38-37. Early in the second half, the two teams battled back and forth. Guy Gardner put the Bulldogs on top 56-55 midway through the period. The Bulldogs would push the lead out to 8 points before the Vols rallied and tied it late with John Higgins' improbable 3-pointer. The two teams would swap 2-pointers, and an extra period would be needed to decide the outcome. In overtime, the Dogs fell behind by 3, and right on cue, Michael Ignerski stepped up to make a clutch 3.
Bowers looking for Ignerski, gives it to him in the right corner. He fires, he scores. Ignerski rams it home.
With the score tied at 91, Timmy Bowers knocked down one of 2 free throws with 7 seconds remaining. Tennessee had a chance, but the Bulldogs held on. Shooting 69% in the second half, 57% for the ball game. When the Bulldogs looked at the first half of the 2002 conference schedule, they knew it would be a rough ride. But with 5 of their last games at home, they also believed they'd have a chance to make up some ground. The Bulldogs rolled into the second half of the SEC season knowing that the final 8 games were going to decide their fate. Standing in their way was the 5th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. The Tide was on top of the SEC and rode into town with a full head of steam. The Bulldogs had a tough assignment, but behind Timmy Bowers' 15 first-half points on 6 of 9 shooting, they cruised to a halftime 7-point lead. In the second half, Michael Goler stepped up on defense, on the boards, and with critical shots when the game got close. The Bulldogs made critical free throws down the stretch and won handily, 76-62.
Well, first off, couldn't be more proud, just not the win, but the effort and the way we got the basketball game, the way we won the basketball game. You know, we had kind of had our backs to the wall after coming out of the game Wednesday night where we particularly didn't play very well or didn't shoot very well. And to come back against a team, a much better team, a team that's, no question, is one of the better teams in America, and play the way we played has showed a lot of heart and character what that team's made of, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
The excitement of beating the 5th-ranked team in the country quickly wore off as the Bulldogs surrendered a 15-point lead and lost in overtime on the road at LSU.
We thought we had the game, and we didn't come out the second half and play like we played the first half. And I take from that game, don't take stuff for granted. You know what I'm saying? By thinking you got the game already wrapped up, you can, slack off a little bit, and yeah, it got heated in the locker room, because of competition, you know what I'm saying? Players, want to win, and that's a game we should have won, and everybody knew that.
5 games left, 5 big challenges. The success of the season hung in the balance. First up, the Auburn Tigers, who had to endure 9 of 14 shooting from beyond the arc by the Bulldogs in the first half. And State took a 20-point lead into the halftime break. They never looked back, cruising to an 89-53 win. Players like Roy Golfer, Lincoln Smith, and Winsome Frazier got to put the finishing touches on this solid performance on the home court. Then the Bulldogs hit the road. Nashville, Tennessee, Memorial Gymnasium. It's never been an easy place for Mississippi State teams to play. But on that Wednesday night, the Bulldogs came ready to battle on defense and on the boards. 2 keys to the Bulldogs' success all season long. The Bulldogs held Vandy to just 18 first-half points and 33% shooting. The second half brought more of the same for the Commodores as the Bulldogs pulled away. Senior walk-ons Brandon Carr and Corey Stidham got a chance to contribute to the 66-43 win in Nashville. Coming off back-to-back SEC victories by the largest combined margin in school history, the Bulldogs got ready for their rivalry game against Ole Miss.
This year, I knew going into that game they had beaten us at Ole Miss, but we were the better team. I knew we were the better team. And the first half, they played perfect, hit everything they threw up, and they couldn't have played a better game. We didn't necessarily play well, and we still won the game. And that's always a good thing when you can beat your rival doing that.
Position in the conference and hopes for postseason play don't have to be on the line to make this game special. The rivalry is enough. The game was as tough and hard-nosed as expected. Mario Austin picked up 2 quick fouls and set the last 14 minutes of the first half. Lincoln Smith and Marcus Campbell were asked to fill the void. The Bulldogs kept it close with the play of Michael Ignerski, Derek Zimmerman, and Timmy Bowers, but trailed at the break 36-30. The Bulldogs roared out of the locker room with a flurry of baskets, outscoring the Rebels 13-2 in the first 4.5 minutes of the second half, taking a 43-38 lead. From that point on, it came down to which team would make the final basket. Markel Patterson's free throws in the closing seconds proved to be the difference as the Bulldogs topped the Rebels 61-59.
With 6.5 seconds left in the basketball game's regulation period. Reed plays it in to Justin, and Jason Harrison puts it on the offensive end to Harper, who fires for 3. It's off the back iron. It will not go. Ball game is over. You can wrap it in maroon and white. 61-59, Mississippi State. Harper, who had hit 4 threes on the day, couldn't get that 5th one to go down.
But like I just told my team, sometimes you got to find a way when you're not playing your best, and we never got our rhythm today without Mario. I know he played 19 minutes, but it seemed like we just never could keep him in the flow, and that affected our team. But sometimes you just got to find a way to win, and I thought our kids did that. I thought we came back out of the locker room the second half when you had a chance to get down early, but we made a run at them, got back ahead, and that really helped us in that little spurt. And we had some guys come off the bench, not just play hard for us, and that's what that game was about, toughness. And we found a way down the stretch to make one more play and no miss.
Arkansas came to town for senior night, amidst rumors surrounding their embattled coach, Nolan Richardson. The Razorbacks came out gunning, and the Dogs knew they were in for a fight. While the Hogs made threes, the Dogs made free throws. 14 of 18 in the first half, with Mario Austin and Derek Zimmerman a perfect 10 for 10 at the line. The halftime score all square at 41. The second half quickly turned into a shootout, and Mario Austin led the way for MSU with his second 30-point outing of the season, while Gennaro Pargo kept Arkansas close with a 35-point outing of his own. Critical free throws by Michael Goler, Markel Patterson, and Derek Zimmerman sealed an 89-83 Bulldog victory. Markel Patterson finished with 21 points, while Derek Zimmerman chipped in with 11 points and passed out 9 assists. In the final contest of the regular season, the Bulldogs were facing a tough South Carolina ball club on the road.
Attitude going in, we had to win. Coach came at us earlier that week during practice. I mean, we knew we were in the tournament, but I mean that wasn't good enough for us. We didn't want to get relaxed, just go into South Carolina, just go to play a game. We wanted to go win a game. So, I mean, we took that into the game plan, into the game, and I mean that was a big win for us. And then, I mean, you look at the bigger pictures, second place over Ole Miss, and I mean, if we would have lost, they get second place. Maybe we're not SEC champs right now.
A win by the Bulldogs would clinch a second seed in the West and give Mississippi State a first-round bye in the conference tournament. The Gamecocks, however, would try to foil that plan on their senior night in Columbia. Two teams that like to play defense, and the score would indicate that, with Mississippi State trailing South Carolina at the half, 28-21. The Gamecocks were still leading by 5 midway through the second half when Michael Goler's three-point field goal made it 46-44. Timmy Bowers gave the Bulldogs their first lead of the second half, and then later, Ontario Harper put the Bulldogs on top for good with a huge three-pointer. Mississippi State had captured its 10th SEC win, secured a first-round bye, and finished with a 23-win regular season, a solid road victory. The Southeastern Conference basketball tournament is really special. All 12 schools of the nation's top basketball conference gathered at the Georgia Dome, along with many of their fans. 4 days of hotly contested battles with a great sense of rivalry and yet a sense of community as well. The Bulldogs would face Florida first. Many picked the Gators to beat the higher-seeded Bulldogs because the Gators had been a top 10 team for most of the season and they had beaten the Bulldogs soundly in Gainesville. And they were, well, Florida, with their flashy young coach Billy Donovan and their multiple offensive weapons.
When I went to class the Monday after the South Carolina game, everybody was so upset because we were going to play Florida and be 1-0. And we just fed off that. We knew, yes, obviously, you look at it, Florida beat us nearly 30 points. But if you look at everything else, we have a better overall record, same conference record, higher RPI, more depth. We thought going into it we were the better team and a tougher team. And we wanted it. And I was glad we got to play Florida.
This Florida team would meet their match. The Florida run-and-gun offense was slowed by the Bulldogs' tough, physical defense. No points were scored without a fight, and no player was tougher on that afternoon than Derek Zimmerman, as he defended, rebounded, distributed, and scored. But the Bulldogs trailed by 3 at the break. The Dogs would quickly take the lead in the second half on Michael Ignerski's dunk. An Ignerski three-pointer gave the Bulldogs the lead for good. And it was Timmy Bowers who made the lead stand up as he ripped off all of his game-high 17 points in the final 15 minutes. The Bulldogs absolutely refused to let the Gators back in the ballgame and won it convincingly, 62-52. One down, two still to go.
We knew we were in for a very difficult game because no question Florida's one of the best basketball teams, just not in this league, but in this country. And, you know, we got rewarded being the number 2 seed in the West by opening up with the Florida team. But we really felt like it was going to be a great opportunity for our team, especially the way we had played at Gainesville. We didn't play the way our team was capable of playing, and we want another opportunity to do it on a big stage tonight. And our team came in this tournament playing with a lot of confidence.
In round 2, the Bulldogs faced a hot LSU team that had beaten Vandy and Georgia and had hopes of doing the same to Mississippi State. But the Bulldogs were a hot team too. In their previous 6 games, State had held 5 of those opponents under 60 points. LSU would have to find an answer to Mississippi State's aggressive and active defense in order to play their way into the final. The Bulldogs fell behind early in this SEC battle. Down 16-11, Michael Goler's 3 brought the Dogs to within 2. Ontario Harper's steal and Guy Gardner's layup tied the score, and then Mario Austin's bucket put the Bulldogs in front. Late in the half, Derek Zimmerman's steal and Ontario Harper's three-point play put the Dogs up at halftime, 31-28. The Bulldogs, though, could not pull away from this determined Tiger. LSU took the lead with 3:47 remaining at 51-50. Mario Austin hit 2 pressure-packed free throws to put the Bulldogs back on top with less than a minute to go. And then it was Bulldogs senior Markel Patterson who would make the deciding shot. The Bulldogs had secured their spot in the final game with a hard-fought 57-51 victory.
LSU, you know, they was fighting for everything they, you know, had, you know, and they done a great job, and they knew, you know, they had beat us once and they could do it, you know, and they knew once they probably would have, you know, if they could beat us, you know, they was there, you know, they were one game away from being in the, you know, NCAA tournament, and that's when it was so tough against LSU.
On Sunday, only 2 teams left to play in Atlanta, Mississippi State and Alabama. The Bulldogs took the upper hand early and never trailed in the first half. After leading by as many as 10, the Bulldogs took a 5-point advantage into the intermission.
We really like our matchups against Alabama. We always have, and you know, we lost a game earlier over at Alabama, but came back and beat them, you know, 16 here at home. Our kids have tremendous confidence playing against them in some ways, and no question Alabama's a very good basketball team, and they were playing awful well. But again, so was our team.
In the second half, Alabama pulled even and then ahead, taking a 47-45 lead with just under 8 minutes to go. Markel Patterson's layup tied the game at 50, and then back-to-back three-pointers by Timmy Bowers and Derek Zimmerman pushed the lead to 5. In the end, it took a Michael Goler rebound and the ensuing foul shots to put the game out of reach.
Williams loses the basketball. The Bulldogs glad that this game is over. The tournament champions are wrapped in maroon and white.
Well, the Bulldogs, they put some pressure. I think he dribbled it on his toe. He kicked it forward. The Bulldogs stole it. Mississippi State wins it. It's their second Southeastern Conference championship. Boy, what a bunch of warriors you have out there.
Hey, we gonna cut him down. Cut him, man. I'm gonna cut him down then. I'm gonna cut him down. You told me we were gonna cut him, baby. We gonna cut him down. You told me we were gonna cut him. Yes, sir. I'm gonna cut him down like this. That's it. You okay? Thank you.
Number one, it's very special. Anytime that you can say that you're champions of something that's the best in America. And no question, the Southeastern Conference is the best league in America. And again, I'm just so proud that that team and these young men beside me had that opportunity to experience this. And this, again, there's a lot of good coaches and a lot of good players to never have this opportunity. But these players and this team have worked extremely hard. And again, I couldn't be prouder for them to have a moment to share this with them.
We knew it was going to be a hard-fought game. And then no team give an inch. I mean, you had to take whatever you want, whatever you were trying to get. And we knew we was going to be the toughest team tonight. It was a special thing for us because we done came a long way. I mean, coming into the season, didn't nobody expect much from us. And we was picked last in almost all the polls. But we use it as a motivation factor. So y'all guys, y'all keep picking us last. And as long as it keep turning out like this, we gonna take it.
The 26th win for the Bulldogs tied a school record for wins in a season, a record set by the 1996 Final Four team. But more importantly, the win gave Mississippi State its second ever SEC tournament championship. But for the Bulldogs, the season was not done yet. The NCAA tournament loomed on the horizon.
All I preached for all week was making sure this team got what they deserved. Not what we wanted, what they deserved. And it's very easy to look at facts and see where they were at. I mean, you had an RPI of 8 after you beat Alabama. 8. An RPI of 8 says you get a number 2 seed. But 2 or 3, I wasn't disappointed in the 3 seed. There's some argument to say we should have been a 2 seed. Alabama should have been a 3 seed. But I wasn't disappointed at all. I thought the committee was fair giving us a 3 seed because I think they had recognized what our program had done and where we were at.
I mean, everybody treats you like a king. Yeah, I mean, you're just on top of the world. In the field of 64, where everybody in America is watching. It's one of the greatest tournaments in America. So, I mean, just to be a part of it, that's a dream come true.
McNeese State in the first round of the Dallas Regional. The Southland Conference champs had won 14 straight and came out playing as if they intended to make it 15 in a row. The Cowboys had built out an 8-point lead by midway through the first half before the Bulldogs settled in and went to work. The Dogs rallied and took a 6-point lead into the halftime break. Defense led to offense as the Bulldogs began to distance themselves from the Cowboys in the second half. The Bulldogs claimed a first-round win over McNeese State by a score of 70-58. And they also claimed the record for the most wins in a season by a Mississippi State basketball team at 27.
We came out early in that first half, a little bit uptight. Offensively, we struggled a little bit, doing some things. Defensively, we weren't our same team defensively early. Caused a little bit of tension. Once we got that out of us, those last 10 minutes of the first half, we got back in the game and got the lead. One thing, defensively. And it's amazing when you step it up defensively, what does it do for you offensively? It frees that man. Frees the man. Second half, totally different. You went out and got it. You went out and got it defensively. And that was the key. And we had to do some mixed up lineups. Harp did a great job. Had him slide down and play some 4 for us. She was very active. Did a great job for us. He stick that thumb in some ice water and get it ready. Got to have you for the next game. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Team.
Texas was the second-round opponent, a talented team playing in their own backyard. The Bulldogs ran into a buzzsaw and were down by 23 points in the first half. Down, but not out. This Bulldog team would display that toughness and resiliency that was their trademark all season long. They fought back, stifling defense, and a furious shooting spree that put the Longhorns on the ropes late in the ballgame. The Bulldogs twice were within 2 points in the final minutes before time ran out on their remarkable effort. A 68-64 decision to the Longhorns ended the Bulldogs' championship season.
The wins and losses, sure, winning is great, and losing's not. But I'm not gonna miss that part of the game at all. I'm gonna miss being around the friends, my team, the coaches. I mean, you miss all because they become your family when you're here for 3 or 4, however many years.
As you're a kid growing up, see the
the team celebrating, jumping up and down, cutting the nets down, putting the caps and T-shirts on. It was a dream come true, and it was something that we've all wanted to do, and it was just an amazing experience. Never forget.
The thing I'll miss most, I won't necessarily miss all the drills and the practices and not even the games. I'll miss the locker room, just 15 guys, you know, and you get to make fun of each other, just the way we were. You're a family. That's the only way to describe it. You really are family, and those are your 14 brothers, and you would lay your life on the line for any of them. And you'll never have that out in your job or the business world, but getting to be a part of that that's without the greatest. That was the greatest part of it.
This team this year won't be on the floor next year. You know, a lot of guys will come back, you know what I'm saying, play next year, but, you know, it'll never be this team, you know, 2002. You know, that team there, it's over with, it's done. And, I mean, the accomplishments that we made, you know, nobody expected, nobody knew what we knew, you know what I'm saying? We sought out, you know, a lot of goals, you know, the first of the season, and we accomplished most of them.
You're SEC champions in the best league in America. I mean, what more could you ask for being a senior and going out as a senior? So, I mean, just everybody in the gym's clapping for you, applauding for you. I mean, it's just a great feeling. I mean, hard-fought battle. I mean, it's just a great feeling. You really can't explain it unless you're in that situation. But I mean, walking up on that ladder and just cutting those nets down and seeing your family in the crowd, I mean, that's just a blessing from God. And I mean, I thank Him for everything that He did this year, and this team just was a special team.
It's all about the players. They're the ones that deserve all the credit because of the kind of people they are. They bought into everything we asked them to do. They trusted us. They believed in us. And then even with that, that's not good enough if you don't have the skill levels and abilities to go with that. And again, I thought this team had a great skill level about it. The two things I said we had to overcome early was just our inexperience early in the season because we were so new. But I thought this team, as the season went on, really developed more confidence through playing experience. And you know, when you have young men like Timmy Byers, who didn't play much as a freshman, but I really believed in what he could be. You see him start unfolding. You see Ontario Harper, who again was redshirted the year before, but we knew his abilities. Everybody knows about Zimmerman and Mario, what was expected of them. Then I thought Iggy, a young man, was a big part of this. I thought his skill level was very important. But then on top of all that, everybody just accepting their roles, understanding their roles, number one, but the most important thing was this, accepting roles. You know, everybody, they teach a young man to understand his role, but it's not always easy to get them to accept it. And that's a credit to them because of the type of people and the type of character that they have.
Mississippi State's 2001-2002 basketball Bulldogs will be remembered for many accomplishments. 11 straight wins to start the season. A great comeback win against Kentucky. A team that set school records for assists and steals. The SEC leader in field goal percentage and rebound margin. All of these distinctions translating into a school record 27 victories. But for the Bulldogs, they will be remembered most for their tough, relentless 3 days of basketball in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. And for that effort, they'll always be remembered as the 2002 tournament champs of the Southeastern Conference.